Hi friends, Vinay Kumar here, International NLP and IAS coach. In this video, I'm going to teach to you American War of Independence or American Revolution as it is called, which is an important topic in the General Studies paper 1 in the World History segment for your civil service exam means. But like I told you in my previous video, where I've made a video on how you have to study world history. Don't just study American War of Independence to answer a question directly coming from there in the paper 1, but also study it in a way where you can use a lot of ideas that you acquire there in the essay, in the ethics paper and all that. Fair enough, my dear friends? Okay. So let's get started with the American Revolution or the American War of Independence, a very significant milestone in the history of world events. Now, what was this revolution all about? Let's try to figure it out first. What was this War of Independence all about? As you all know, my dear friends, Europeans wanted to, occupy all those distant lands they discovered in their voyages and colonize them so that they can extract a lot of raw materials from there and slowly and gradually convert these regions into, markets for their domestic, their produce and all that. Okay, so America, the present day America, was one such colonial occupation by many European powers. There were Spanish, there were Dutch, there were French, and there were other European powers, but not these were in, along with English, along with the British, these three European powers were there in good measure. Now, what happened over a period of time? British were able to, flush out other European powers' hegemon. I mean, any kind of large-scale presence of other European powers from the continent of, I can't say continent of America because again Mexico and all that is a different case. Later it again goes to Spain, but a significant part of the present day America was especially the eastern part was settled by the British, and British created these 13 colonies in the America. Now, most of these colonies were different, from Rhodes Island, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New Hampshire, New York, all these fellows, okay? Now, 13 colonies all in all. What happened was, these 13 colonies, increasingly, the people in these colonies increasingly saw British rule not in their interest. Rather, it was only serving the homeland's interest, the Britain's interest. So I can say the mercantilist or mercantilist, however you pronounce it, the mercantilist policy of most European powers in those times, especially by the Britain, was one of the root causes of discontent, ill will that was created in the minds of the then Americans, people, who had migrated from Britain and who had settled down there in the British created colonies. In fact, one thing about these colonies was it didn't have just the British people, it had other people also intermingling with the British, and it had created a new it had created a new tribe of people altogether, like who could be called as Americans, okay? Now, having said this, my dear friends, but dominantly that was British, okay? Now, having said this, let us now look into the details of what are the causes of this revolution. What were the causes that led to the outbreak of this revolution, or that led to this war between America and Britain, which finally culminated in freedom of America from Britain, complete political freedom of America from Britain? Let us look into it, my dear friends. Among the causes, the first cause that I would like to mention, like I mentioned some time ago, was the mercantilist the mercantilist policy of Britain, my dear friends. Okay, the commercial and the trade policy of Britain. Now, what is mercantilism? As you know, my dear friend, mercantilism is a trade policy where a state which has colonies orchestrates its trade policy in such a way where it can export a lot, import less, at least in terms of value. Are you connecting to what I'm trying to tell you, my dear friends? I mean, the trade policy is skewed in the favor of itself and to the disadvantage of its colonies. That's a mercantilist trade policy. Okay, so what was happening, like among the causes, I would like to mention this as the first one because almost all the trade policies that Britain had with this American land was mercantilist. If you look into the features of the Navigation Act, you can clearly make out there are so many provisions which clearly validates this. You know, where it says Americans can take their cargo to different countries only via British ships. America has to export certain items to Britain only. America can import certain essential goods that it requires from Britain only. And the things that are in demand in America can be imported from Britain only. Like this, there were so many features of this trade policy that Britain had for America, which was slowly creating that disenchantment and discontentment among the Americans. Okay? Simmering discontent was there. Now, this was one of the major, in fact, the prime cause that, or the foundational cause for the War of Independence to manifest in the coming days, my dear friends. Okay. Now, having said that, there was, a major, other than this, the major cause I can clearly look at when it comes to Americans' discontentment against the Britain was the British policy of taxation. Americans were in no mood to pay taxes to Britain because they did not see any representation of American interests either in the law chambers of Britain or in the governance priorities of Britain. Are you connecting to what I'm trying to tell you, my dear friends? What I'm trying to tell you is as simple as this. When Britain imposed taxes after taxes on Americans in the form of the stamp duty, in the form of taxes on tea, on paper, on glass, on lead, which were all imported by Americans in large measure from Britain, plus the domestic taxes, like I mentioned, the stamp duty, where on all the stamp papers that the Americans use a tax, it didn't go down well with Americans because Americans' point of argument was that how can you tax us when we do not have representation in your parliament, where you make laws for Britain and its colonies. You do not have anyone, who know the local needs and aspirations or local grievances there to represent our interests. How can you tax us? So here was this principle, no taxation without representation, actually was created for the first time, my dear friends. So Britain policy of taxation did not go well with Americans, my dear friends. In the course of the the course of struggle that I'm going to explain, I'm going to tell you how it all, how taxes after taxes were dissented by Americans and how it all led to the war and all that. I'm just coming there, my dear friends. But let's complete the causes for now. So I spoke about the mercantilist policy of Britain, which did not go well with the Americans. The British policy of taxation, which was dissented by the Americans. Then there was the 7 year war that England fought with France. Two things happened here in the 7 year war. One, the imminent attack of France on Americans was completely eliminated now. With France removed from the scene, Americans could now concentrate on their intellectual development and all that. That's number one, which actually becomes one of the cause that I'm going to discuss now, my dear friends. Two is the Americans who were there, the British Americans who were there, who went on to fight alongside the British soldiers, actually got to know a lot about war tactics, the war techniques, and the war strategies and all that. Are you connecting to what I'm trying to tell you, my dear friends? Number one was security. See, when you have security, military security, automatically there is a lot of impetus for development of knowledge and intellect and all that, my dear friends. Which happened? Two, the Americans there who fought for the British army against the French learnt a lot about British ways of war. Are you connecting to what I'm trying to tell you, my dear? Number three, intellectual causes. Intellectual awakening that was happening in America at that time. Starting, if you look into the roots of it, from the time of Benjamin Franklin's founding of that philosophical society, where he wanted the Americans to come and discuss a lot on philosophy and all that. If you see, there were a number of intellectuals who were playing their own role in inspiring Americans to get into this political struggle against the Britain or the British hegemony. Samuel Adams, Patrick Henry, Sidney Harrington, Thomas Jefferson, John Locke, Thomas Paine were all important names. In fact, if you look into the ideas of Thomas Paine or Thomas Jefferson, you can clearly make out, my dear friends, that they were clearly, they were making it very clear to Americans that if British doesn't understand the reason why it has to politically free Americans from its rule, the Americans should not hesitate to take up arms against the British. Are you connecting to what I'm trying to tell you, my dear friends? This was very, very clear in the intellectual work that was produced during that time. John Locke, in his two treatises of the government, comes up with so many original ideas of this entire course of the revolution, my dear friends, where he, some of the basic principles that Americans battled for, you can clearly see in John Locke's ideas. So, intelligentsia, the intellectual class, played a very, very important role in inspiring Americans against the British. Okay? Now, having spoken about the intellectual causes, I told you the British policy of taxation was something that Americans were not happy with. If you look at one after another, the stamp tax, the townshend tax, the finance minister townshend tax, or the North's tea policy, the Prime Minister North's tea policy, Stamp Duty Act, where there was a duty imposed on all the stamp papers that were used by Americans. Nothing of this went well with the Americans. The reason is no taxation without representation. Americans were not happy about the fact of getting taxed when their interests nor their people were represented in British Parliament. Not happy with it. Okay? So, this played a very, very, the British policy of taxation had a very important role to play. And one another major reason that Americans were not happy about is British drawing the boundary line as to where Americans will have to limit themselves. When in the Quebec Act, when autonomy was given to France by England of that Quebec region, and a line was drawn, which demarcated to what extent Americans could expand to the west, so that the native Red Indians are not disturbed. Americans did not like it because when they had supported England in the 7-Year War, they clearly had an eye on expanding to the west, to the north, everywhere. But when Britain came up with this boundary line demarcation, it was not taken well by the Americans. In fact, this also was one of the reason why Americans wanted to, they got politically disenchanted with the British. So, having spoken about these major causes, my dear friends, and to this you can add so many minor causes like, Britain used to deport its criminals. Not all who went there definitely was criminals, my dear friend. There were so many other classes of people who, with the lure of money, who with the lure of land, who with the intentions to spread religion, actually went to America. But then Britain also had this policy of deporting some of its criminals to America. The second generation of these criminals did not have any loyalty to Britain. They had developed a distinct flavor, distinct essence, which could be called as, which could be seen, as American way or whatsoever, my dear friends. Are you connecting to what I'm trying to tell you? Now, these are all some of the causes that we can mention. And some of the causes, the immediate causes, you can see in the course of American War of Independence. Like, for example, when almost all the taxes that the British imposed were completely neglected by Americans, ignored by Americans, ultimately Britain, just to ensure that it has its hegemony over the Americans, when it comes up with its tea policy, the tea policy, where even without any even without any duties, when tea was exported to US, people I cannot use the word US, when it was taken to America, Americans did not want to use the tea that was imported from Britain. It led, in fact, to the infamous incident, Boston Massacre, where so many people were protesting against the British tea, were killed in a fight between the British soldiers and the people who were protesting. From there, as you all know, that famous incident of Boston Tea Party was at the beginning of the course of the American War of Independence, where Lord North's tea policy, where British tea would reach America even without any tax, also did not satisfy Americans who were not ready to take anything from Britain, who wanted to politically, economically, and in every sense possible free themselves from Britain. So when it reached the port of Boston, some of these people, under the guidance of Samuel Adams, one of the nationally spirited leader, under the guidance of Samuel Adams and under the leadership of Paul Revere, when they disguised themselves as the native Red Indians, they entered into the ships and through the tea boxes. Infuriated Britain had to declare a war on America. In fact, two important events that happened in America during this time was the first intercontinental congress at Philadelphia, where representatives from all the colonies minus Georgia met to discuss the political fate of America, where they, in the first conference, they spoke about the Declaration of Rights of Man. They spoke about the inalienable rights that a man is born with, which was being deprived by Great Britain to them. And in the Second Continental Congress, they had a sterner language. They came up with the Declaration of Independence that Thomas Jefferson had propounded. Okay, Declaration of Independence was accepted, and they took it in their stride. When the Britain declared this War of Independence, America entered into the war, and it had the able support of France, Spain, and Holland, who were also embittered in their defeats at the hands of Britain in the wars that had happened in America. So they also gave moral military support to America. And even though in the beginning America did suffer reverses in the Battle of Bunker Hill and all that, where William Howe was the commander, British commander, and George Washington was designated commander in the Second Intercontinental Congress. George Washington went on to have victories in the subsequent battles of Trenton, Pristine, and ultimately the Saratoga, where subsequent events led to final surrender by Lord Cornwallis, ending the entire war in 1783, with America becoming politically independent of Britain. Okay, so 4th July 1776, in the Intercontinental Congress, Second Intercontinental Congress, when they came up with the Declaration of Independence, Americans had politically decided their future. That's why even today they celebrate that as their Independence Day. American War of Independence had implications for the world. Number of implications for the world. In fact, so many subsequent revolutions derived their inspiration from American War of Independence. Not to, French Revolution was number one among them. Connected to what I'm trying to tell you, my dear friends, which happened in a very, very less time from the time American War of Independence happened. The Lafayette, who had fought alongside George Washington in the American War of Independence, took home the lot of inspiration from American War of Independence, and the ideal, one of the core ideal, liberty, which was later to become a core cardinal principle of French Revolution. And then democracy in its true sense, true spirit, was the child of American War of Independence, my dear friends. British monarchy suffered in its power and prestige. In fact, monarchies everywhere, absolutist, misrule, monarchies everywhere were despised, thanks to American War of Independence. Of course, emergence of USA after their political struggle, especially highlighting the principle of no taxation without representation, was to become the song of many anti-colonial movements that followed thereon. Thank you so much, my dear friends, for watching this video and learning about the American War of Independence. See you all in my next video when I discuss with you about the French Revolution. Thank you so much, my dear friends.